The December rain hammered against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the Morrison penthouse, 40 stories above Seattle's waterfront. Inside, 15-year-old Alexander Morrison sat perfectly still in his wheelchair, staring at the lights of the city below. His father's voice echoed from the home office down the hall, sharp and commanding, closing another multi-million-dollar deal. Alex barely heard it anymore. 3 months ago, he'd been running track. Now he couldn't trust his own body. Another seizure, sweetheart. Dr. Patricia Chen appeared in the doorway, her heels clicking on the marble floor. She carried her black medical bag, the one that never left her side during her twice-daily visits. "Let me check your vitals." Alex wanted to say no, wanted to tell her that something felt wrong about the pills, about the way his head got cloudier each week, about the tremors that started right after she increased his dosage. But his father trusted Patricia. She was family, his late mother's half-sister, the brilliant neurologist who dropped everything to care for him. Who was he to question her? "Dad's busy again," Alex said quietly, as Patricia wrapped the blood pressure cuff around his arm. "He's doing this for you, Alex. The new treatment center in Switzerland costs money. He's working himself to exhaustion to give you the best care." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. "Your mother would want him to focus on the business right now. The company is your legacy." Alex's mother. The accident had been 2 years ago. Some days he could barely remember her face. Patricia pulled out a syringe. "I'm adjusting your anti-seizure medication. You might feel sleepy." Sleepy. He was always sleepy now. But what choice did he have? 14 stories down and 2 blocks away, Maya Rodriguez pressed herself deeper into the cardboard box that served as her shelter. The overpass protected her from most of the rain, but the December cold seeped through her 3 donated jackets. She'd been on the streets for 6 months, since her grandmother died, and the state couldn't find her parents. 14 was too young for most shelters to take without a guardian, too old for some foster families to want. She'd learned to be invisible, but being invisible meant she saw things other people missed. Like the woman in expensive heels who visited the Morrison building every morning and evening, always carrying the same black bag. The same woman who, late one night last week, had stood on the rooftop garden talking on her phone, and Maya, sheltering in the building's loading dock, had heard every word. "The seizures are getting worse, just as planned. Another month and the neurological damage will be irreversible. Then Christopher will have to make the decision. Yes, the company will need new management. Who better than family?" Maya had spent 6 months invisible. 6 months watching the city's underbelly. She knew evil when she heard it. The next morning, Maya watched Dr. Chen's Mercedes pull into the underground garage. She waited 20 minutes, then slipped through the loading dock entrance. The maintenance crew always left, propped open. Her grandmother had cleaned offices in buildings like this. Maya knew how to move through them like a ghost. The Morrison penthouse took up the entire 40th floor. Maya found the service elevator and rode it up, her heart pounding. She had no plan, just a feeling. The same feeling that had made her grandmother check on elderly neighbors, the feeling that you helped people when you could. The elevator opened to a private hallway. Voices carried from inside the penthouse. "I don't understand why we can't get a second opinion," a young male voice said. "Alex, because every neurologist in Seattle knows my work. They'd defer to my diagnosis." Patricia's voice was patient but firm. "Alex, I know you're scared, but questioning your treatment only makes things worse. Stress triggers seizures. I feel wrong, like I'm disappearing. That's the medication protecting your brain. Trust me." Maya heard footsteps approaching the door and ducked into a housekeeping closet. Through the crack, she watched Dr. Chen emerge, check her watch, and head for the elevator. The moment the doors closed, Maya slipped into the penthouse. It was beautiful, painful beautiful. White furniture, modern art, windows everywhere. And there, in a motorized wheelchair by the window, was a boy about her age. He was thin, with dark circles under his eyes, staring at nothing. "Who are you?" Alex's voice was startled but not afraid. Maybe too tired for fear. Maya should have run. Instead, she stepped forward. "I'm nobody, but I think your doctor is hurting you." Alex blinked. "What?" "I heard her. On the phone. She's making you sick on purpose." For a long moment, Alex just stared at her. Then he laughed, bitter and hollow. "You're crazy. Patricia is the only person who cares about me. My dad barely notices I exist anymore, and she's here twice a day. She's trying to save me." "Is she?" Maya moved closer. "When did the seizures start?" 3 months ago. I was running and just collapsed. They ran every test. Patricia said it was a rare neurological condition, degenerative, and it got worse after she started treating you." Alex's expression shifted. Something flickered in his eyes, doubt, hope, fear, all mixed together. "You can't just break in here and accuse—" "I know. I'm sorry, Maya looked around the expensive penthouse, at this boy who had everything except health. "I know what it's like when nobody listens, when nobody sees you. And I saw her, I heard her. Then why tell me? Why not go to the police?" "Because I'm homeless. They don't believe people like me. They'd put me in the system." Maya headed for the door. "Forget I was here." "Wait." Alex's voice stopped her. "What's your name?" "Maya." "I'm Alex." He wheeled closer, and she could see the intelligence in his tired eyes. "If you're wrong, I've lost nothing. If you're right," he swallowed hard. "Show me. Prove it." Over the next week, Maya became Alex's invisible ally. She learned his father's schedule. Christopher Morrison left at 6 a.m., returned after midnight. She learned Patricia's routine morning visit at 8, evening visit at 6, always with that black bag. She learned the penthouse's rhythms, and she searched. Alex couldn't help much. His wheelchair, his fatigue, and the cameras throughout the penthouse limited him. But he could tell Maya where to look. His mother's office, still locked and untouched 2 years after her death. Patricia had the key, but Alex knew where his father kept the spare. On the 8th night, when Christopher was in Tokyo and Patricia had left after the evening treatment, Maya picked the lock on Elena Morrison's office. It was like a time capsule. Photos of a beautiful woman with kind eyes and Alex's smile. Medical journals. Elena had been a pharmacist. A laptop computer, still charged on the desk. Maya opened it. No password. The screensaver was a photo of Elena and young Alex at a beach, both laughing. The email application opened automatically. Maya scrolled through old messages, looking for anything about Patricia. There, a folder labeled Sister Concerns. The first email was from 3 years ago. "Christopher, I know she's my half-sister, but something about Patricia's interest in your company feels wrong. She keeps asking about inheritance structures, about Alex's trust fund. Please, can we just review the estate planning without her present?" Another from 2 years ago. "I confronted Patricia today about the questions she's been asking our lawyers. She got defensive, said she was just looking out for family. But Chris, I found her in your office at 2 a.m. going through the files for the merger. This isn't normal sibling concern." The last email was dated 1 week before Elena Morrison's fatal car accident. "Christopher, I know you think I'm paranoid, but I had my old pharmacy colleague analyze the vitamins Patricia gives Alex. There's nothing wrong with them, but why is she so insistent he take her specific brand? And last night I heard her on the phone talking about accelerating the timeline. I'm going to the police tomorrow. I'm scared, but I'm more scared of what happens if I'm right and do nothing. Please, if something happens to me, protect Alex from her. Don't let her near him. This email is my insurance. I love you both." Elena Morrison died in a car accident the next day. Brake failure. It was ruled accidental. Maya's hands shook as she forwarded the emails to Alex's account. Then she heard it, the private elevator, whirring to life. Patricia wasn't supposed to be back until morning. Maya ran, but the penthouse was a maze. She heard the elevator doors open, heard Patricia's heels on the marble. She ducked into Alex's bedroom just as Patricia entered the living room. "Alex, are you awake?" Patricia's voice carried down the hall. Alex was in his wheelchair in the living room. Maya heard the tremor in his voice as he answered. just watching the city. Couldn't sleep. The insomnia is another symptom, I'm afraid. A pause. Alex, has anyone been in the penthouse today? Just me and Dad this morning before he left. Strange. The service elevator shows activity. Maya's heart hammered. She looked around Alex's room. The window opened to a small balcony, 40 stories up. Probably maintenance, Alex said. His voice was steadier now. The heating's been weird. Perhaps. Patricia's footsteps moved toward the bedroom hall. Maya did the only thing she could. She opened the window, climbed onto the balcony, and pressed herself against the wall. The December wind cut through her jackets. Rain soaked her immediately. Below, the city lights swam in the darkness. She heard Patricia enter Alex's room. Everything looks fine. Alex, you seem anxious. Let me give you something to help you sleep. No. Alex's voice was firm. No more medication tonight. I just want to rest. A long pause. Alex, the medication is essential. I said no. Another pause. Then Patricia's heels clicked away. We'll discuss this in the morning. Your non-compliance could have serious consequences. Maya stayed on that balcony for 30 minutes, shivering uncontrollably, until she heard the elevator descend. When Alex finally appeared in the bedroom doorway, she'd lost feeling in her fingers. She's gone, he whispered. Come inside before you freeze to death. Maya stumbled in, and Alex wheeled to his closet, pulling out blankets. His hands shook as he handed them to her. I read the emails. My mother, she knew. I'm sorry. Maya wrapped herself in the blankets. My father wouldn't listen to her. And then she died, and he buried himself in work, and Patricia was there, so helpful, so caring. Alex's voice cracked. She killed my mother, and now she's killing me. We need to tell your father. He's in Tokyo, won't be back for 4 days, and Patricia. Alex looked at his medication bottles lined up on the nightstand. I've been taking 8 pills a day. If I stop now, will I actually have seizures? Or was there nothing wrong with me at all? Maya thought about the emails. Your mum had them analyzed. What if we do the same? How? We're a sick kid and a homeless girl. Who's going to help us? Your mum was a pharmacist. She had colleagues, friends. Maya pulled up Elena's email contacts, someone she trusted enough to ask for help. They found him in the sent folder Dr. Robert Kim, a toxicologist at the University of Washington. Elena had sent him samples of Alex's vitamins 2 years ago. It's 3 a.m., Alex said. Then we wait until morning. Maya looked at the pills. But you're not taking any more of those. The next day, Maya and Alex made their first call to Dr. Kim. He remembered Elena, grew quiet when Alex explained she'd died. When Alex described his symptoms and sent photos of his medication, Dr. Kim's voice became urgent. I need to analyze those pills. Can you bring them to my lab? I can't leave, Alex said. I can barely move some days. Then I'll come to you, tonight, after your doctor's evening visit. Can you manage that? They could. They had to. But Patricia arrived at noon instead of 6. Alex, we need to talk about last night. She set her black bag on the coffee table. Your refusal to take medication is dangerous. I've prepared an injectable form that will... I know what you did to my mother. The words hung in the air. Patricia froze, her hand still on the medical bag. I don't know what you mean. The emails, the brake failure, the way you've been poisoning me for 3 months. Alex's voice was steady, but Maya, hidden in the hallway, could see his hands shaking. It's over, Patricia. Patricia's expression didn't change. She smiled, sad and disappointed. Oh, Alex, the paranoia is a side effect of the medication. This happens sometimes with neurological conditions. You start seeing conspiracies. Stop lying! Alex's shout echoed through the penthouse. Patricia's smile faded. Her hand reached into the medical bag. Your father will be devastated when you have a fatal seizure. But these things happen, especially when patients refuse treatment. She pulled out a syringe. Maya stepped into the room. There are cameras everywhere. Patricia turned, and for the first time, her composure cracked. You, the homeless girl. How long have you been sneaking in here? Long enough. Long enough to forward all the evidence to the police, to Dr. Kim, to Alex's father. Maya held up Alex's phone. Long enough to record this conversation. Patricia's face went white, then red. You think anyone will believe you? A street rat and a sick boy. I'm a renowned neurologist. Elena was my sister. Why would I hurt her? For $60 million, Alex said quietly. That's what the company's worth. That's what I inherited 18. Unless I die first. Then it goes to family to you. Patricia's hand tightened on the syringe. For a moment, Maya thought she might actually lunge at them. Then her shoulders sagged. You can't prove anything. Elena's accident was ruled accidental. Alex's condition is documented by multiple specialists. Specialists you chose, Maya said. Specialists who never ran independent tests because they trusted your diagnosis. The elevator chimed. Patricia spun toward it. Dr. Robert Kim stepped out, followed by 2 police officers. Dr. Chen, I'd like to discuss the medication you prescribed for Alex Morrison. Specifically, the benzodiazepine levels that would induce seizures in a healthy teenager, and the heavy metals that would cause permanent neurological damage over time. Doctor, Kim's voice was cold. Elena Morrison sent me samples 2 years ago. I still have them, and I've analyzed the pills Alex provided this morning. Patricia ran. She actually ran for the emergency stairs, but the police were faster. When Christopher Morrison's plane landed 8 hours later, he raced home to find his son surrounded by doctors, police, and one very nervous homeless girl. The detox would take weeks, they explained. The damage might be permanent. But Alex was young, strong. There was hope. Christopher collapsed in a chair, his head in his hands. Elena tried to tell me. She called, and I was always in meetings. Always too busy. I thought she was stressed, paranoid about family drama. He looked at his son. I failed you both. You didn't know, Alex said quietly. I should have listened. Christopher reached for Alex's hand. I'm so sorry. Maya tried to slip away during the reunion, but Alex caught her eye. Dad, this is Maya. She saved my life. Christopher turned to her, really seeing her for the first time, saw the too thin frame, the worn clothes, the way she stood ready to bolt. You live in the building? No, sir. I live, nearby. In the streets, Alex said, because she has nowhere else to go, because she's brave and kind and sees things everyone else misses. Christopher stood slowly. I build properties all over this city, luxury condos, office buildings, hotels. But I never think about where people like you go when the affordable housing disappears. He paused. That's going to change. And you, he looked at Maya, you're not going back to the streets. We have plenty of rooms here. If you'll stay. Maya's throat tightened. I can't. I'm nobody. I can't just. You're the person who saved my son when I couldn't. When I was too blind and arrogant to see what was happening in my own home. Christopher's voice cracked. Please, stay. Give me a chance to do one thing right. 3 months later, Alex stood on the rooftop garden without help. The doctors said it was remarkable the human body's ability to heal once the poison stopped. Physical therapy helped. So did having a reason to get better. Maya sat on the garden wall, no longer afraid of heights. She'd enrolled in school. Christopher had started a foundation in Elena's name for homeless youth. Maya helped run it. Her invisible girl skills now used to find kids who'd fallen through the cracks. Do you ever think about that night? Alex asked, joining her at the wall, when you heard Patricia on the phone and could have just kept walking. Every day. Maya watched the city lights. My grandmother used to say, Mija, we don't choose when God sends us to help. We only choose whether we answer. I'm glad you answered. Me too. Below them, Seattle glittered in the evening light. Somewhere in those streets were other Mayas, other invisible people waiting for someone to see them. But tonight, up here in the garden, where everything had changed, 2 kids who shouldn't have been family sat together and watched the city breathe. Christopher found them there an hour later. Dinner's ready. Maya, your social worker called the paperwork for guardianship is almost complete. Maya smiled. After 6 months of being invisible, she'd never imagined being seen like this, being wanted like this. As they headed inside, Alex paused at the garden door. "Mom would have liked you. She always said family isn't just blood. It's who shows up when you need them most." "Then I guess we're family," Maya said. And for the first time, in a very long time, she meant it. Far across the city, in a minimum security facility, Patricia Chen stared at her cell wall. The trial had been quick. The evidence overwhelming. 20 years minimum, the judge had said. 20 years to think about what greed had cost her. But in the Morrison penthouse, 3 people who'd found each other through tragedy sat down to dinner together. A father learning to listen, a son learning to trust again, and a girl who'd been invisible, now surrounded by light. Outside, the December rain had finally stopped, and the stars were beginning to appear.